This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple's looking to have the DOJ antitrust case dropped. Apple Intelligence may get ChatGPT before year's end. And it's going to be a quick trip to the movie for wolves. It is Thursday, the 8th of August, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Still playing a bit of catch up from last week. Word that Apple has filed to have a really big case against it dismissed. 9to5Mac ran a piece last week saying the Cupertino company is asking that the antitrust suit brought by the Department of Justice be 86th. In a press release last March, the DOJ alleged that Apple illegally maintains a monopoly over smartphones by selectively imposing contractual restrictions on and withholding critical access points from developers. Examples laid out by the Justice Department included blocking innovative super apps, suppressing mobile cloud streaming services, excluding cross-platform messaging apps, that would be the blue bubble, green bubble fight, diminishing the functionality of non-Apple smartwatches, and limiting third-party digital wallets. A few months later, Apple has officially disagreed, saying the government's theory that Apple has somehow violated the antitrust laws by not giving third parties broader access to iPhone runs headlong into black-letter antitrust law protecting a firm's right to design and control its own product. In another part of last week's filing, Apple argued that to the extent the government seeks to use these 5 examples to seize unprecedented authority to control Apple design choices more broadly, the case is even more far-fetched. Such a sweeping rule, if recognized, would harm innovation and risk depriving consumers of the private, safe, and secure experience that differentiates iPhone from every other option in the marketplace. The complaint should be dismissed. With the motion filed, the case is in the hands of Judge Julian X. Niels. No indication as to how long he'll take to grant or deny Apple's motion. Apple has taken what Bloomberg calls unusually aggressive action in China against the internet giants ByteDance and Tencent. Mac Rumors highlights the report, which has the Cupertino company urging the two to block avenues used to circumvent payments in the App Store. Funny enough, this is tied to super apps, specifically Tencent's social messaging app WeChat and ByteDance's short video app Douyin. Those can be used to play games, hail rides, and buy things, all without leaving the apps, and it seems, all without paying Apple its customary in-app payment commission. According to the piece, Apple reportedly told both companies that they need to prevent many app creators from including links to outside payment systems that circumvent its commission system. Apple said it would not approve future updates to WeChat or Douyin until the companies complied. Apple sort of seems to have offered a non-confirmation confirmation for this story. Mac Rumors says an Apple spokesperson directed Bloomberg to company guidelines that the sale of all digital goods must go through its system and that its review team may reject app submissions that violate that policy. If Apple leaning on 2 of China's biggest online players is true, it's interesting timing considering other stuff Apple wants to get done in the Middle Kingdom, like bring Apple Intelligence behind the Great Wall. A piece from 9to5Mac says Apple execs were asked about lighting its version of AI for both China and the EU. The piece had Apple CEO Tim Cook responding, "We're engaged, as you would guess, with both regulatory bodies that you mentioned, and our objective is to move as fast as we can, obviously, because our objective is always to get features out there for everyone. We have to understand the regulatory requirements before we can commit to doing that, and commit a schedule to doing that, but we're very constructively engaged with both." If you're wondering when one of the biggest Apple Intelligence features will be available in the US, the answer seems to be sooner than initially expected. While many had thought Apple's integration of ChatGPT into Apple Intelligence would hit sometime next spring, a piece from my Download blog had the company saying last week that that's going to happen before year's end. The report had Apple CEO Tim Cook responding to a question about the staggered launch of Apple Intelligence, referring first to the recent developer betas of iOS 18.1. Cook said, "We started with some features this week, but not the complete suite. There are some languages beyond US English that will happen over the course of the year and other features. ChatGPT will be integrated by the end of the calendar year." A little over a week after the last round of security and bug fix OS updates, a smaller round of bug fix updates. Mac Rumors ran a couple of pieces on the releases of iOS and iPadOS 17.6.1 and macOS Sonoma 14.6.1. Those addressed bugs tied to advanced data protection, a mechanism for end-to-end encrypting and accessing data stored in iCloud. Helpful for all, though problematic for some. According to Mac Rumors, the advanced data protection bug impacted a small number of users. Those who tried to turn advanced data protection on and weren't able to get it enabled saw an error message, and it was clear it was not active. Affected users who tried to turn it off saw it disabled in the interface, though it was actually still active for iCloud data. Wednesday's updates address those issues, according to the reports. A big change-up for Apple's next big movie. A piece from 9 to 5 Mac says the Cupertino company has pulled plans for a wide theatrical release for the George Clooney, Brad Pitt action comedy, Wolves. The piece says originally Apple planned to launch the film exclusively in cinemas across thousands of screens worldwide for an extended run. Those plans have changed. Instead, the movie will see a limited theatrical release on the 20th of September. That will be followed by a worldwide streaming release on Apple TV Plus 1 week later. Might make the movie sound like a stinker, though that is apparently not the case. Not only has the movie seen high test scores with audiences, with the entertainment site Deadline calling it a crowd pleaser, Apple says work is already underway on a sequel. I really hope they call it Wolfses. Rather than saying anything about the quality of this particular title, 9 to 5 Mac figures the change may reflect a reality check of Apple's mediocre to poor box office performance to date. Well, that's better. There's a teaser out for an anticipated title. Apple TV Plus issued a press release Wednesday showing the first moving images from the limited series Disclaimer. This is the one about the journalist who made her bones dishing dirt on other people. Then she gets a copy of an unpublished novel from an unknown author, dishing dirt on her. That sends her on a chase to find out who wrote the novel before the whole thing pulls her world apart. Can't say whether the show will be good, but it's got a good chance. Not only is the cast amazing, headlined by Cate Blanchett, Kevin Kline, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Cody Smith-McPhee, it was adapted for the screen and directed by Alfonso Cuarón. 7 episodes for this one. The first 2 hit Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 11th of October. They'll follow 1 per week through the series finale on the 15th of November. The teaser is up now on YouTube. And finally today, some really exciting comedy news for Apple TV Plus. Anyway, I'm excited. Cult of Mac ran a piece earlier this week announcing the return of the Bill Lawrence-produced series, Shrinking. If you have missed this one, I think you've missed a lot. As Apple describes it, Shrinking follows a grieving therapist who starts to break the rules and tell his clients exactly what he thinks. Ignoring his training and ethics, he finds himself making huge, tumultuous changes to people's lives, including his own. Jason Segel stars, along with Harrison Ford, Jessica Williams, Michael Urie, Krista Miller, and others. No word on how many episodes the second season will have, but there is a release date. The show makes its return on Wednesday, the 16th of October. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOScan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.